Ironheart. Before Riri Williams even fired up her first suit, the internet already had her show in its sights. Ironheart arrived in 2025 as Marvel's newest attempt to fill the void left by Iron Man, a teenage genius from Chicago, building her own armored suit and taking on crime, trauma, and legacy all at once. Sounds solid, right? Except from the moment the trailer dropped, things got messy. Fans clocked the tone right away. This wasn't a slick, action-packed spiritual successor to Tony Stark. It had gritty Chicago streets on one side and literal magic on the other. That's right, Mephisto himself made an appearance, turning what was pitched as Marvel's next-gen tech hero story into a supernatural detour nobody asked for. The backlash hit before Episode 1 aired. Rotten Tomatoes' audience score tanked immediately, dipping into the 30% range while critic reviews hovered near 70%. Social media reaction was brutal. Fans questioned why Riri was inheriting Iron Man's legacy at all and why Marvel kept handing iconic mantles to characters introduced 2 movies ago. And then came the tonal clash. Part coming-of-age drama, part magic battle, part political statement on race and identity, with some reviewers praising it for being bold, while longtime MCU fans called it unfocused and pandering. Even Anthony Ramos, who played the villain The Hood, had to weigh in, shrugging off the backlash by saying, "At least they're talking." In the end, Ironheart didn't just struggle to find an audience. It became a poster child for what many fans now call woke MCU, identity politics front and center, beloved legacies sidelined, and fans left feeling alienated from what used to be their favorite franchise. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. This is the show that turned Marvel Backlash into a meme factory. From its first episode in 2022, She-Hulk Attorney at Law became the lightning rod for woke MCU complaints. The premise seemed straightforward enough. Jennifer Walters, a lawyer, juggling her career, personal life, and superhuman strength after a Hulk-sized accident. But when it came to the execution, well, fans weren't ready for what they got. The show's tone went full sitcom filled with fourth-wall-breaking jokes, dating app gags, and a heavy dose of feminist commentary. The courtroom battles were mostly background noise compared to the meta-humor and Jennifer's commentary on online trolls that mirrored real-life critics before the show even launched. And then came the moment, She-Hulk twerking alongside Megan Thee Stallion. That scene became instantly infamous, fueling an avalanche of memes and furious YouTube reaction videos. Some fans laughed it off, but a large swath of the Marvel audience saw it as proof that the MCU was no longer taking itself, or its fans, seriously. The show's Rotten Tomatoes scores tell the story. Critics landed it at a respectable 77%, but audience scores crashed into the low 30s. Social media piled on, questioning the CGI, the scripts, the stakes, or lack thereof. For many viewers, it didn't even feel like a superhero show anymore. It felt like Marvel was trolling its own fanbase. By the finale, She-Hulk wasn't smashing villains. She was smashing the very MCU formula itself, rewriting her own ending by confronting the fictional AI Kevin behind the franchise's stories. For frustrated fans, She-Hulk became the ultimate example of woke Marvel, a show more interested in snarky commentary and cultural critique than telling the kind of superhero story they came for. Ms. Marvel. This show was supposed to be Marvel's heartwarming coming-of-age story, but it ended up splitting fans faster than a multiverse crack. Ms. Marvel dropped in 2022 as the franchise's first Muslim teen superhero series. Kamala Khan, a Pakistani-American high schooler from Jersey City, navigated family, school, crushes, and inherited cosmic powers. On paper, Marvel was breaking new ground. Diverse cast, fresh cultural setting, and a lighter tone aimed squarely at a younger audience. But almost immediately, longtime MCU fans started checking out. Why? The show leaned hard into teenage awkwardness, high school tropes, and vibrant pop art style visuals that made it feel like a Disney Channel series dropped straight into the MCU timeline. Many older fans, used to big action set pieces and cinematic grit, felt sidelined by the playful tone. Then came the discourse. Representation was front and center, and that triggered the usual culture war battle online. Critics praised it for diversity and cultural authenticity, while critics from certain corners called it forced and identity politics disguised as superhero content. Even Marvel purists got frustrated. Kamala's powers were rewritten from comic-accurate shapeshifting to glowing hard light constructs, sparking endless debates about why Marvel changed a character that hardcore fans loved. The numbers told their own story. Critics handed out positive reviews, but the audience score plummeted into the 50% range. Viewership was soft compared to earlier MCU shows. By the finale, even casual audiences admitted they felt the story lacked stakes, tying itself too closely to a niche family drama with an underwhelming villain. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show kicked off like classic Marvel until it jumped straight into politics and fans picked up on it quickly. When the Falcon and the Winter Soldier debuted in 2021, the setup looked simple. Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes teaming up for a buddy action thriller as Sam grappled with taking up Captain America's shield. But what unfolded went deeper and way more divisive. From the very first episodes, racial politics took center stage. A scene where Sam is stopped by cops while arguing with Bucky wasn't just a throwaway moment, it became a clear symbol of the show's intentions. By episode 6, Sam was delivering a speech to world leaders about race, borders, and injustice. Marvel was aiming for big themes, but a lot of fans felt like they were being lectured rather than entertained. Then came John Walker, Marvel's attempt at showing what Captain America would look like if handed to someone unworthy. His brutal takedown of a flag smasher, shield drenched in blood, was meant as a chilling moment but sparked its own firestorm online about how heavy the show's tone had become. The numbers told the story. Critical praise hovered around 85% Rotten Tomatoes, but audience chatter was mixed with phrases like preachy and heavy-handed flooding comment sections. Even fans who liked the action complained about the pacing. Detours into systemic injustice left some viewers feeling like the superhero buddy dynamic they signed up for kept getting sidelined. Secret Invasion. This was supposed to be Marvel's gritty espionage thriller, but it quickly became one of the MCU's most ridiculed flops. When Secret Invasion hit Disney Plus in 2023, expectations were sky high. Nick Fury back in action, a shadow war with Skrulls, and a paranoid spy drama vibe. But almost from episode 1, fans felt something was off. The show leaned heavily into allegory. Skrulls weren't just shape-shifting aliens anymore, they became stand-ins for modern refugee crises and immigration debates. Characters delivered lengthy monologues about displacement, loyalty, and racial identity, slowing the plot down to a crawl. The tone was bleak, but the stakes felt flat. A global conspiracy somehow felt small and repetitive, and fan-favorite characters like Talos and Maria Hill were abruptly killed off with a little emotional payoff. Then came the backlash. Critics gave it mild praise for being darker, but audiences were far less forgiving. Rotten Tomatoes audience scores sank to the 50% range, and viewership numbers lagged far behind earlier MCU shows. Social media piled on complaints about pacing, wooden dialogue, and how Marvel was sacrificing tight storytelling for woke messaging. Even more infuriating for hardcore MCU fans, the finale turned into a CGI slugfest that felt disconnected from the intimate paranoia the show promised at the start. And don't forget the infamous AI-generated opening credits, a creative choice Marvel touted as experimental but fans saw as soulless, sparking yet another layer of controversy. By the time the dust settled, Secret Invasion had become a textbook example of woke MCU fatigue, a series that tried to weave political commentary into every scene but left audiences bored, frustrated, and nostalgic for a time when Nick Fury just looked cool while saving the world. Loki. When Loki finally got his own show in 2021, fans were hyped, until they weren't. On the surface, this was supposed to be the wild, multiverse-bending adventure starring the MCU's most beloved trickster. Tom Hiddleston back as Loki? Easy win, right? But this wasn't quite the Loki show fans expected. From early episodes, things got complicated. The reveal that Loki was canonically gender fluid barely made a ripple among critics, but it ignited debate online. The bigger controversy hit when Sylvie, a female variant of Loki, showed up and quickly stole the spotlight. For many fans, it felt like the title character was being sidelined in his own show. By the season finale, Sylvie had made the defining decision that would ripple through the entire MCU, killing He Who Remains, while Loki was left standing around, reacting. Viewers started venting. The pacing felt uneven, the tone swerved from quirky buddy comedy to heavy exposition, and the Time Variance Authority's bureaucracy-driven aesthetic rubbed some fans the wrong way. Rotten Tomatoes critics gave it glowing reviews, sitting around 92%, but audience chatter online grew louder, with some labeling it feminist rewrite disguised as multiverse chaos. Even though many still praised Hiddleston's performance and the visuals, others questioned whether this show was really about Loki at all, or just another setup for Marvel's next big arc, with his character reduced to comic relief while Sylvie carried the plot forward. Ekko. This show came and went so fast some Marvel fans barely realized it dropped, and those who did, many weren't impressed. Ekko arrived in early 2024 as Marvel's first Disney Plus series under the new Marvel Spotlight banner, stripped down, gritty, and focused on a grounded character outside the cosmic spectacle. Maya Lopez, a deaf Native American anti-hero, had been introduced in Hawkeye, and this was supposed to be her moment. But from the start, fans weren't buying it. Disney promoted Ekko heavily on representation. Indigenous female lead, a deaf protagonist, and cultural authenticity woven into every frame. Behind the scenes, Indigenous creatives consulted on everything from language to traditions, a genuine effort to get things right. Yet when it dropped, backlash hit fast. Many felt Marvel was ticking diversity boxes without delivering a compelling story. The pacing was slow, the plot meandered, and while Alaqua Cox gave a solid performance, casual viewers struggled to connect with a character most had only briefly met in another show. And then there was the release strategy itself. Ekko dropped all 5 episodes at once, a first for the MCU, and was rated TVMA. But despite that edgier approach, viewership was dismal compared to the previous shows. Social media called it Marvel's smallest show yet, and not in a good way. Fans mocked the marketing push, accusing Disney of hiding it with little promotion, almost as if they didn't expect people to watch. Hawkeye. The show was supposed to be Clint Barton's time to shine. Instead, it felt like Marvel used his show to quietly pass the torch. And fans noticed. You see, when Hawkeye premiered in late 2021, it brought holiday cheer, street-level action, and a chance for Jeremy Renner's Clint to finally take center stage after years of being an Avenger in the background. But as soon as Kate Bishop hit the screen, it became clear. This wasn't really Clint's story. From episode 1, Haley Steinfeld's Kate was positioned as the future, while Clint played reluctant mentor. Their chemistry was fun, but many fans felt Clint was being sidelined in his own series. Yet another example of the MCU passing the mantle to a young, energetic female replacement. Then there was the tone. Hawkeye leaned hard into Home Alone vibes, quirky humor mixed with a holiday aesthetic, but kept crashing into darker material. Flashbacks to Clint's time as Ronin, grief over Natasha, and brutal hand-to-hand combat. Some fans liked the street-level stakes. Others said it felt like a lightweight Christmas special, wrapped around legacy character fatigue. Audience reactions split fast. Critics praised it, 92% Rotten Tomatoes, but online discussions filled up with comments about Hawkeye getting pushed aside so Marvel could launch another young female lead. Even the finale felt rushed. Kingpin's big return came and went quickly. Eleanor Bishop's subplot fizzled out, and viewers were left wondering why Clint's final solo outing felt more like a backdoor pilot for Kate. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Marvel faced an impossible task with this one, and fans were split the moment it hit theaters. Black Panther. Wakanda Forever was always going to be emotional. After Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing, Marvel chose not to recast T'Challa and instead leaned into grief, legacy, and transition. That transition came fast. Shuri, T'Challa's brilliant scientist sister, took up the mantle of Black Panther. But that decision and the film's overall tone ignited a cultural battle the second the credits rolled. From the trailers, it was clear this was going to be a female-driven story. Almost every major figure, Shuri, Queen Ramonda, Okoye, Nakia, Riri Williams, was a woman. Critics praised this shift as bold and empowering. Many longtime MCU fans, though, not so much. Online, backlash flooded comment sections and forums. Accusations that Marvel was pushing an agenda by sidelining male characters in favor of a near all-female lead cast. Memes and hashtags popped up calling it MCU phase woke, with some fans arguing that the franchise was using representation as a replacement for strong storytelling. And while Wakanda Forever made solid box office numbers, grossing over $850 million worldwide, the discourse around it overshadowed its success. Rotten Tomatoes critic score landed at 84%, but audience scores dropped below 80% with polarized reviews. Some celebrated the film's emotional depth and cultural impact. Others felt it was Marvel forcing a social message over character balance. The Marvels. This was Marvel's first all-female superhero team-up on the big screen. Carol Danvers, Kamala Khan, and Monica Rambeau. 3 leads trading quips, teaming up, and celebrating girl power every step of the way. The trailers promised fun and action, but the reality? Fans quickly picked it apart. From its opening weekend, audiences complained that the movie felt like a chaotic rush job. Scenes jumped wildly, emotional beats barely landed, and the villain, Dar-Ben, was roundly mocked as one of the weakest MCU antagonists yet. While critics gave it polite praise, 62% Rotten Tomatoes, the box office told a different story. The Marvels became the MCU's lowest-grossing film ever, finishing under $210 million worldwide. And then there was the discourse. Fans criticized the show for leaning heavily into girl power moments at the expense of coherent storytelling. Some felt that characters like Monica and Kamala were underserved, their arcs feeling forced in service of showcasing diversity rather than developing strong individual stories. Others pointed out that Carol Danvers still lacked real emotional growth since her 2019 debut. Even Brie Larson's performance reignited old debates about her perceived aloofness as Captain Marvel, fueling further criticism online, and that's it. So after all these shows, we have to ask, is the MCU really evolving, or is it just caught in an endless loop of box-ticking, backlash, and blown expectations? Share your thoughts in the comment section below as you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.